focusing on this admin module. We may not be focusing on this lifecycle management, but we'll be focusing only on this particular modeling activity here. Modeling activity only we'll be focusing on. Okay, when we come on to this particular modeling activity, please see here. When we come on to this particular modeling activity, there are a couple of things. First thing is this is the server where we are connecting to that particular HANA server from the client. This is what is a node that represents that we are connecting to that particular HANA box, HANA sandbox. Okay. Now, within this particular database or within this particular HANA box, we are going to have a couple of folders that are going to come up, for which we are very much interested in this particular catalog, and where we are very much interested in this particular content. These are the two things that we'll be majorly focusing on. Okay, so within the catalog, what you are going to have is that you are seeing all these things, right? These things are called as the schemas. These things are called as the schemas. Please don't worry about a schema. A schema is nothing but a name of the user or else a name of the application basically. Suppose if you can see a type of schema called as the EHP5 schema is there somewhere. Oh, yeah, HANA user schema is there, or 1 minute. HANA user schema is there here. Okay, within the schema, generally what we do is that whatever all the tables are from whatever all the sources, you are supposed to replicate the data into your HANA database. Okay, all those tables will be existing as the physical tables in this particular schemas basically. All those tables will be existing as the physical tables in this particular schemas like this. They are nothing but the physical databases, physical structures where your data gets stored here. That is point number 1. SAP underscore ERP is there. You can have the tables like that. You can have the option of creating different types of schemas here. Okay, but the moment once your data is there, physical data is stored in this particular HANA database. Okay, these tables will never be exposed to reporting and analysis directly. Okay, these physical tables will never be exposed to direct reporting analysis basically. So what exactly is required is we need to make sure we need to create an abstract layer on this particular physical tables. We need to create an abstract layer on this particular physical tables. So the objects what are there in that particular abstract layer, what we do is that we call that one as views. We call them as views here basically. We call them as views in this particular case. Okay, so it is similar to the table and the view what you are having here. A table physically stores the data, whereas a view contains only the structure, not the data. Okay, which can be used to query the data basically. That way we can check out here. Okay, so we need to create the views. For the purpose of creating the views, there are two options. Either you can have the option of creating the views directly within the HANA Studio. Either you can have the option of creating the views directly within the HANA Studio in the form of an activity called as the modeling activity. Otherwise, since business objects is only the reporting tool that is available in the industry for your reporting and analysis, in that business objects also we can have the option of doing this particular modeling activity. In the business objects also we can have the option of doing this modeling activity. Okay, so the way we model this particular activity, okay, is going to be done with the help of a tool in business objects. That particular tool is nothing but your IDT tool. What is the tool basically? Information Designer Tool. Information Designer Tool, what we call. Okay, so basically this Information Designer Tool is basically used to model. Okay, the views. It is basically used to create the views based on the physical tables what are stored in this particular HANA database basically. Okay, this is the way we can do this one. Either you can do this one here, as well as either you can also have the option of trying to create the modeling views in this particular content folder also. You can also have the option of creating this particular modeling views within this particular content folder also. This is the second thing. Okay. So Vijay, you are following, right? Vijay and Anand and Elva.
Yes, Ravi.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. So Shyam, this is only for the couple of minutes where we get on to the IDT, and once we get on to the IDT, we'll be flowing in the normal way, Shyam and Archana understand. Okay. So we have this data that is coming up like this here. For the purpose of creating the views, I can have the option of using this particular content folder, or else I can always command to this particular IDT tool of Business Objects 4.0 for the purpose of modeling the views for the data that is already existing here. Again, I was telling you, like, you can also have the option of creating this particular views in this particular content folder. But one thing, when you try to create this content views in this particular folder, what happens is that this is basically exposed only to the Excel sheet for the purpose of your reporting and analysis. Okay, so far in the industry, HANA is exposed to 3 reporting tools for your reporting and analysis. One is your Crystal Reports, the second one is your, what is the second one? Crystal Reports, the second one is your Business Objects, and third one is your Microsoft Excel. Okay, these are the 3 places where your reporting is exposed. And apart from that one, if you want to have your these modeling views to be exposed to the reporting tools like Business Objects or Crystal Reports, for every modeling view what you create, a separate column view is going to be created in this particular thing. What is that one here? sys_bac, which is nothing but a predefined schema. Okay, where when you try to activate this particular objects in this content view, okay, what exactly is going to happen is that in this sys_bac, a separate view is going to be created. A separate column view is going to be created. Okay. Once that column view is created, what happens is that those column views can be exposed to the other reporting tools of Business Objects for your analysis or dashboard presentation basically. So this is what is the structure of your HANA Studio, where we have this catalog, where your physical tables are stored, where you have the content, where the modeling views are present here. Okay, where your modeling views are present here. Okay, the second thing is that modeling the views in the case of the HANA Studio is optional. Whether you can do that one or else you don't do that one. Okay, but at some point of time you need to do the modeling for querying these particular objects here. Okay, for this particular purpose the option lies trying to do it with respect to the HANA Studio, or else trying to do the same in this Business Objects. Okay, in Business Objects generally what we do is that we start working out with respect to your information design tool for the purpose of creating these particular models. This is the basic brief introduction what you need to have, okay, before we start working on this particular IDT. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you, right? Vijay and Elva and Anand.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us come back to this IDT now. So when you see the structure of this IDT, you can understand. Database contains these particular objects. Database contains the tables, views, joins along with the relationships, right? It contains the tables, views, joins along with the relationships. Okay. Now, if I want to model something on this particular tables, views, joins and relationships, the first thing what I need to have is that I need to have the connection that should be created. Okay. To have the connection that should be created, okay, the IDT, the information design tool of business objects, is going to follow a particular pattern. Okay, what exactly is the pattern is that initially we are supposed to create a project. Okay, this particular project is supposed to hold something called as a connection. Okay, these connections are of two types. Okay, first type of connection is called as the relational connection. And second type of connection is what is called as the overlap connection. Okay, Vijay, you have been working on cubes, right? SAP PA.
Yeah, yes, Ravi.
Okay, see here. If your database is going to contain the tables, views, joins, and relationships, okay, then the type of connection what you need to create is nothing but the relational connection. Okay, but if you are connecting to an SAP BA system, business objects is also having the capability of connecting to any MOLAP system also where your cubicle information is present. Okay, either that information might be your SAP BA system, okay, or else that might be your SSAS. Have you heard of, anybody has heard about this SSAS? SQL
Yes,
Server,
Ravi.
SQL Server Analytical Services, where your cube is present.
Yeah.
Okay, SQL Server Analytical Services where your analytical cubes are present. So if you have your multi-dimensional structures that are already, if you are having your multi-dimensional structures that are already existing in SAP BI, then the type of connection what you need to create is supposed to be the overlap connection. So these are the two things that we need to create. We are supposed to create a project, and within this particular project we need to create a connection, and the connection what you are supposed to have should be either be the relational connection or the overlap connection that we need to maintain here basically. Okay.
What's SSAS again?
SQL Server Analytical Services, Shyam.
So that is
MSBI you have heard about, right? Microsoft Business Intelligence. In that
right.
one, they have an ETL tool, reporting tool, and analytical tool, and one of the analytical tool is called as the SQL Server Analytical Services. Like that, you're having something called as Cognos. Cognos is also there. Within this particular Cognos also, we create this particular cubes, and what we do is that we call this particular cubes as the power cubes.
Okay.
Power cubes. These are all the multi-dimensional cubes what we generally create. Okay. And apart from this one, in Essbase, have you heard about Essbase? Hyperion Essbase.
Hyperion, yep.
These cubes are called as the Hyperion Essbase cubes what we generally create here. Okay, these are all the multi-dimensional cubes what you are having. These are all called as the multi-dimensional cubes what you are having. The type of connection what you create here is going to be the overlap connection. Overlap connection only you will create. But since we are focusing on your SAP BA platform, and in SAP BA we'll have two types of cubes. One type of cubes that exists in the form of the info cube with a single info provider, or else we can have something called as the multi-providers that exist basically. Archana, you are aware of this multi-providers, right? Multi-providers. Multi-providers means a combination of more than one cube that exists. You know? So these are all the multi-providers what we generally use here. Two types of connections what we need to create. Okay, so the hierarchy of your IDT is going to be like this. The hierarchy of your IDT is going to be like this. Like 1 minute. Shyam, the criminal activity baga konచెం severe గా ఉంటుంది అనుకుంటా కదండి US లో?
Yes, Sandy. I think Marvin, we got to really admire him. He's totally different from what he does.
Yeah.
Amazing. Federal agent. He's a federal cop.
Yeah, who knows? Sometimes, you know, we feel scary of talking to policemen, right? So that's fine.
Well, this country, you don't have to be scared. As long as you don't break the law, you can be, yeah.
I need to keep all my senses in control while talking with such type of people. Not Marvel, but with the cop people and all, just like that.
he's just a human being. He doesn't hold anything above the law. As long as you are guilty free.
Yeah. Okay. So here what we are having is that in the information design tool, the way you have a particular structure in the case of Elva, project creation is just a straightforward approach. Like what we do is that we right click here. Sorry, 1 minute. We go to the file and then start click on this new and then start creating a project here. This is the way we just start creating a project. It's not a big deal to create a project name here in this case. Okay, we create a project here, something like this. Local something of this create, not a problem. Okay, once the project is created, then what we need to do is that we need to start creating a connection. Okay, for the purpose of creating a connection, I told you, right, there are two types of connections that you need to create. Either it should be the relational connection or else it should be the OLAP connection you need to create. OLAP connection is for the multi-dimensional cubes and the relational connection is for the two-dimensional tables what you need to create. So when you click on this relational connection, Ashina, we'll discuss your point here today now. That Srini you were seeing yesterday, right?
Yeah.
The resource name. Dim underscore connection, resource name, and click on this next button. These are all the types of databases that are available here. These are all the types of databases, and when you select your 1 minute. So you are going to be SAP. This is going to be a SAP HANA database, and the type of data drivers what you need to take is nothing but your ODBC drivers you need to take. ODBC drivers you need to take here. We select this particular driver and then click on this next button like this. Srini, Sham and Archana and other people, this is the data source name that is created on the server. This is the data source name that is created on the server. Like, let me tell you, when you go to the programs, when you select something like settings and then control panel, you have something like administrative tools, right? Administrative tools. Within this administrative tools, so you have this 32-bit ODBC sources, and then you have two things over there: the system DSN along with the user DSN. Both these two things are there. System DSN along with the user DSN. Okay, of course we have created all these things, but these things are not becoming available to us while creating over there. Suppose if we go to this user DSN, and then even if we add also, it will not be available. But what these people have done is that they have created a system DSN. They have created a system DSN by name called as Srini. Okay, where they can use that particular data store, where they can use this particular data source name, and they can specify the respective user ID and password. They can give their respective user ID and password to make sure that, okay, they are connecting onto that particular database. Okay, the reason why they have done is that they really don't want to have multiple people to be creating multiple DSNs, okay, while connecting to that particular database. Okay, we have an encapsulated container that is created, which is nothing but your Srini that is created here, and through this particular Srini, every user can have the option of specifying their specific user ID and password for the purpose of connecting onto that particular database. That is the reason you are trying to see this particular Srini data source name here, Rachana, and nothing specific behind this one basically. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, but Ravi, where is this? I understand that it's an encapsulated name for the data source connection that is there in the administrator tool, ODBC administrator.
Mm-hmm.
We should still be able to see it from the control panel ODBC administration system DSN, right?
My login credentials may not have the privilege of seeing that particular data source name. Okay, unless you log in into this particular system with the user-based privilege, with the admin-based privileges, then only you will be able to see these things. Otherwise, we cannot see. That is generally what happens in any ETL applications, right? Basically.
Mm-hmm. But what if I'm a developer where I am not on the same server? In your case, you're on the server where the actual.
I'm on the client only, right? I'm on the client. This is not the place where your HANA server is installed, right? This is only the client here.
So in other words, if I'm a developer and I'm trying to work with the universe, or I'm creating a universe for the first time, I need a system DSN, or it has to be defined locally through my ODBC connections, ODBC administrator, right?
That will not work. That
okay,
will not
but
work, right?
if it's a new universe, you have to have a connection, right?
Yeah,
for example,
if it is a new universe to a new database, yes, a connection has to be done, and it is the role of the DBA to provide such a type of DSN to you in order to connect to that new database, Srini. Sorry, Shyam.
Right. Okay, so on a subsequent connections by a different developer on already existing universes, I can retrieve them from the repository.
Yeah, you can retrieve them from the repository.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so this is the authentication mode. Archana, what is the username and password you specified yesterday?
HANA user and welcome 123. Password is welcome 123.
1, 2, 3 and click on this test connection.
Ravi, this is Vijay.
Yeah.
Can I know what are the other authentication mode you have?
Use business objects credential mapping. Okay. Generally what happens is two things here. If suppose if you are connecting to business objects, okay, when you are connecting to business objects, what happens is, or else if you are connecting to MS Access database doesn't have the user ID and password. Okay, so what I want to do is that whatever the credentials what I'm having while working with the business objects itself, those credentials itself will be used as the login credentials for connecting to that MS Access database. That is one way that we can work with. Otherwise, if you have a specific credentials when you are connecting to Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata, or else to this particular SAP BA system or SAP HANA system, where you have a specific credentials, that is point number one, and those particular credentials are different from the credentials what you use for logging into this particular HANA system. If those two credentials are going to be different, then you need to use your specific username and password. And in case if the database through which you are trying to connect doesn't have any credentials, and you want to use the business objects credentials itself to log on, then we can specify use business objects credential mapping, Vijay. Clear to you, right?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So the test connection is successful. And one more thing, you can see here, right? The database, see, when I want to log in into this particular system, I have used a particular user ID by name HANA user 9. Okay, but here what I'm doing is that to log into that HANA specific database, I'm using this HANA user only. I'm using here. So there lies the difference basically. There lies the difference basically, Vijay, here. Okay, you
Okay.
specify these things and then click on this next button. Now, one thing let me tell you here, the connection what you are creating here is basically a local connection what you are creating here. The connection what you are creating here is basically a local connection. Okay. Now, let me spend some 2 to 3 minutes of time here for the purpose of telling you what happens here. When you create a local connection, you are only the person who will be able to access this particular connection. Okay, but tomorrow when you are working in a multi-user environment, okay, or else whatever the modeling layer, which is nothing but the universe what you create, okay, has to be used by multiple users across the industry, across the enterprise, then what should happen is that we should have the option of converting your local connection into an enterprise connection. We need to have the option of converting your local connection into an enterprise connection. So this enterprise connection also what we do is that we call this one as a secured connection basically. Secured connection. Okay. When can you have the option of converting your local connection into the secured connection is the moment once you publish this particular connection to a particular place, that is what is called as the repository. This is the place where you need to publish your connection basically. Okay. This is a place where you want to publish your connection. Understood, right? So let me tell you what is the repository here. The repository is nothing but the database that is maintained by business objects for the purpose of storing all its applications. So that is the reason for the purpose of converting your local connection into a secured connection, you need to publish your connection to this particular repository here. So please see what I'm doing here. This is your connection, right click, and what you have is that you have something like publish connection to the repository. Vijay, Elva and Anand, what I was trying to tell you is that to I'm trying to publish this connection to the repository to make it as secured. And Vijay, if you can follow, the username what I'm seeing here is HANA username. Why? Because this is the place where my repository is installed on the same system. Okay. And earlier when I connected to the HANA database, it was something like HANA user, right? So these two things are different. Okay. When these two things are different, then you need to specify your specific user ID and password over there. Okay.
Okay.
Now 1, 2, 3. So connect this one. Okay. This is the place where I want to publish this particular connection. Okay. Select this place and click on this finish. Now what is being done here? Your connection is published to the repository. But how do you see when you publish this connection to the repository, what is happening here? This connection has come here. But still, while working with the future applications, I want to use that particular connection. So for the purpose of using that particular connection, then now I want to do is that I want to create a shortcut in this particular local folder. I want to create a shortcut in this particular local folder. So here it does like this. The connection was published successfully. Do you want to create a connection shortcut? Yes. My connection is created here. So the connection what I'm having right now is nothing but the CNX connection, which is nothing but your local connection, and then CNS connection is nothing but your secured connection. This is the way that we are going to work out here. Basically. So Vijay, is it clear to you? Vijay, Elva, and the other one.
Yeah, right.
So I hope you understood the concept of a repository. A repository is nothing but a database used by business objects for storing all its applications over there. Okay, so that is a repository where your universes, reports, users, profiles, and all the other things are stored basically. Okay, so to make sure that you want to utilize those particular connection, you need to have a copy or a shortcut of this connection that should be created here, and this is done. So that means that two things are done here.
Ravi, one more question here. In
Yeah.
case if we want to use that local connection, can we still use that local, or do we
Yeah,
have to
still
use
we can have the option of using that connection, but what the unfortunate thing is that you can't publish that connection to the repository. You can't publish that universe or the modeling layer what you create cannot be published to the repository. In case if you cannot publish to the repository, other users cannot work out. As long as it is local, only you as a user can be able to work on that particular repository basically.
Got it.
So right now we created a project. Okay. The second thing is that we created a connection. Next thing is that this is the place where exactly the modeling starts. This is the modeling that we need to start here. See here. With this text and then text, and this is going to be our modeling tool. Modeling tool we need to create. See, the modeling layer what you create in business objects, okay, is going to have two things here. It is going to have the technical layer, okay, and second thing is that it is going to have something called as the functional layer also. Technical layer and the functional layer. Very, very important. Why it is called as a technical layer, let me tell you. This functional layer, see here. This technical layer in the case of IDT, what we do is that we call this particular layer as the data foundation layer. This technical layer is what is called as the data foundation layer, what we call here, data foundation layer. Okay, in this data foundation layer, through this particular connection, whatever the objects that you are having here, what are the objects that you are having in this studio? Where is that one here? In the HANA studio, you have seen this content, right? What are all the contents that you are having here, as well as whatever all the content that you see in this particular sys_bic, okay, these things are going to be visible once you create a data foundation layer or the technical layer with the help of that particular connection. Please see what I'm going to do here now. Okay, so I select this one, right click and then specify a data foundation layer. Okay, this data foundation layer is called as the technical layer what we create in IDT. This layer. Okay, so specify this one as HANA underscore technical underscore layer. This is the thing I want to create here. Once I create this one, you please click on this next button. Is it a single source or else it is a multi-source enabled? Guys, please follow carefully. If you are working with an SAP BA system, the type of source should always be a single source. Okay. But if you are working with a multi-user system, the type of source should always be your multi-source enabled. IDT can have the option of creating the model from multiple sources altogether. That means that some of your data model is there in your HANA database and some of your model is there in your SAP database, HANA database. Still, it can try to combine the modeling aspects of both your HANA along with your Access together in the same window. That is possible. Okay, I select a single source. I select a single source and click on this next button here. Now, is it not asking you to attach a connection here? It is asking us to attach a connection right here. So, I should not select this local connection here. Why? Because I'm interested to make this particular connection as a secured connection and then click on this finish button in this case. Now, your technical layer is created. The technical layer is called as a data foundation layer. Okay, and the data foundation layer in the case of business objects IDT is stored with the help of this .dfx extension. Is stored with the help of this .dfx extension. Ashna, now it is clear to you, right? The way we are proceeding with this IDT and all. Shyam? Okay. Okay, fine. Now we have got this one. Now, when you open this one, is it not that everything you are seeing here? This is our HANA user one, which is specific to us. Okay. Not only that one, when you come on to this one, this is a place where you can see all these particular views and all. These are the things that are available here. So that means that whatever is visible here, whatever the content you are having here, the same content is going to be displayed, the public synonym, CCD data, eFashion, HANA user one. Okay. And of course, it will show you the other users also here. It will show you the other users also. What are the other users here? Like HANA user 1, 2, 1, 6 and all also it is getting displayed, but we are not very much bothered about those things here. Okay. But what I'm interested is that I'm interested in this HANA user one where I have these things that are existing here. I have these things that are existing here. If you're interested in this eFashion tutorial that are available, if you're interested in the CCC data, that also is available here at this point of time. Okay. ECC data, eFashion tutorial, HANA user, IC tables, everything is available here basically. But what we are interested in? First of all, I'm interested, assume that we'll take a very simple application, okay, which is nothing but your eFashion tutorial. Within this eFashion tutorial, you have something called as a shop facts is there, which is a fact table, and then you have the Outlook lookup, calendar lookup, article lookup, as well as article color lookup. These are all the things that you are having here. So the first thing what we need to do is that once we make a connection to this particular table, to this particular database, the first thing is that we need to start adding those tables into this particular layer, and this particular layer is nothing but your data foundation layer. So this is the first step what you are expected to do here. Please let me know whether you have understood till this particular point or not. Sham.
Yes, sir, it's clear. So basically, data foundation layer can hold tables not only from one connection, but you could have from a altogether different database, and you could join or make a relationship between those two tables.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Stinkers. Okay. Now, first thing is that we need to import the structures here basically. Okay. For the purpose of importing the structures, what we do is that you click on this insert and then select this particular tables here. Select this particular tables here. Either I can select this one, okay, or else I can have the option of selecting this eFashion tutorial and make sure that I'm selecting this shop facts, outlet lookup, article lookup, and calendar lookup. These things assume that I'm taking here. Calendar lookup along with the article color lookup also you take not a problem. You take these things and then what you do is that you click on finish. Now what is happening here? Whatever all the table structures, okay, what you are having in that particular HANA database, they are getting imported into this particular IDT, right? Now one more thing. Let us check whether you are able to view the data or not first. Show table values. You're fine. We're able to view the data, right? So don't you think that the connection what you have made is successful connection at this point of time, Vijay?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah. So this is what you have got here. Okay. Any idea like from anybody? Once we have imported these particular tables, what should we do here right now? That is my question.
Yes, should establish the relation with these tables.
We need to establish the relationship between the tables. My question is that why should we establish the relationship between these tables?
Because it generates the it creates the relation between the tables, the equijoins or something.
Yeah, Anand, the main purpose of trying to specify the join is to create the relationship, right?
Yes.
But my question is that why should we establish the relationship? Simple
Without
question.
any relationship, there is no meaning between individual tables.
Individual tables, yes, correct.
What will happen if there is no relationship between the tables?
I won't be able to predict, for
We won't be able
example,
to pick up the data from multiple tables. I mean, we
Yeah,
can't
you
have a
cannot-
link between the tables. If I want one column from the article color and article lookup and the calendar year, I can't have that relationship.
So that means that what we need to say is that everything what we are doing is ultimately connected to the reporting point of view only, right? Reporting point of view. Okay. In the reporting point of view, business user can have the option of selecting the data from more than one table, right?
Yeah.
Every time the business user can have the option of having the data from more than one table. Okay. So if you want to have the data from more than one table, what happens is that the table should be related, as what Sham has told. Okay. Now my question is that if the tables are not related and the business user would like to have the data from more than one table, please tell me what happens. Question is clear, right? I don't want to specify the relationships and joins.
The data is going to be something different actually, because all the tables are multiplied. So the data, what you're looking is, for example, the table A got 5 rows, table B got 5 rows. So you can see 5 into 5, 25 rows instead of 5 rows actually.
What is the type of property called?
It's
Cross
called
join we call that one. Cross join or Cartesian product, right?
yeah, Cartesian product.
Yeah. So that's why what we need to do is that let us try to sum up all these things. That is, business users can have the capability of getting the data from more than one table. Okay. For having this data to be obtained from more than one table, what we need to do is that we need to make sure that all these tables should be related to each other. Okay. To have all these tables to be related to each other, what we need to do is that we need to join them. Okay. In case if you are not going to join them, what happens is that there might be a place where your cross-join or Cartesian product will happen. Okay. The results what you are getting out of this cross-join or Cartesian joins may not be meaningful. Okay. Which will be distracting the user at any point of time. So that's why we need to specify the relationship between these particular tables. Is it clear now? We need to specify the relationship between the tables here. Sham, మీకు అర్థమైందండి Sham?
yes, yes, clear Andy.
No. 1 minute. Okay, so we need to specify the relationships. Business object supports so many types of relationships. So, start. Let me telling you these relationships what you have here. The relationships are specified as joins. One type of join what you need to support is nothing but the equijoin. The second type of join is going to be non-equijoin, and third type of join is going to be your self-join.
Self-join.
Then you have left outer, right outer, and you are going to have something like full outer joins like this here. These are the types of joins what you are going to have here. But let us start putting up some joins here in order to run the show. See, for the purpose of specifying the joins between these two tables, what we need to do is that we need to identify two tables. Okay, among these two tables, one table is treated as an independent table and the other table is treated as the dependent table. Another table is treated as the dependent table. That is the point number 1. Other table is treated as a dependent table. Okay. And the second thing is, the table containing the primary key is the independent table, whereas the table containing the foreign key is nothing but the dependent table. Foreign key is nothing but the dependent table in nature. Okay. Foreign key is nothing but the dependent table here. Okay. So what we do is that let us try to take the things like this. We will take this particular table and call this one as outlet lookup. 1 minute. Sharpfax is there. I'm taking this particular table here. Okay. As well as I also would like to take this particular table, which is nothing but your outlet lookup I want to take here. These two tables I'm taking here. Now tell me, among these two tables, outlet lookup and the Sharpfax, which might be the independent table and which might be the dependent table, and then how? These two tables.
Outlet lookup is a independent table.
Outlet lookup is a outlet lookup is an independent table. Okay, Sharpfax is a dependent table, right?
Yes.
Because here you have the primary key and here you are having the foreign key that exists here. Okay. Now we need to start establishing the relationship, right? So for the purpose of establishing the relationship, what I do is that I select this particular table, okay, as well as I will also select this particular table, right click. You can have the option of inserting, select these two tables. 1 minute. Click and allow type click or thing. You go to these actions, within these actions you go to the insert and then you can have the option of selecting this join here. This join I want to specify. This join I want to specify here. Select this join. Now it asks, what is the task here? Article lookup is there along with the, what is the second table you are having here? The article lookup is nothing but the Sharpfax. You will select this article ID. Okay, we'll also select this particular article ID. Sorry. Outlet lookup, right? This is our outlet lookup. Article ID and then this article ID. So here it is going to be your shop ID and here it should be your shop ID here basically, right? And this shop ID. When we have these two tables, then only we'll be able to specify the joint between these two tables, right? Then only we can have the option of specifying the joints between these two tables. Okay. Now, if we are going to specify the type of join as equal to, then what we do is that we call such a type of join as equi-join. Otherwise, if you are trying to specify any other operator in between, then it is what is called as the non-equi-join, what we call. Okay, this is what is the equi-join. Along with this equi-join, what we need to do is that we also need to specify the cardinality between the two tables. We also need to specify the cardinality between the two tables. Can anybody tell me what exactly is this cardinality here? What is cardinality basically in database terms?
Is it one-to-one or is it one-to-many or is it many-to-many? Basically, it is a relation. I think I'm resounding somehow.
Who is talking? Anand is talking.
Yes, I think it was responding. So
I think Anand, it is from your side only. Anyway, never mind. Cardinality specifies. Suppose if you are having this particular outlookup and Sharpfax is there, right? How many values of the primary key? Okay. Otherwise, let me try to put it like this. It specifies the relationship between two tables in terms of one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many basically. Okay. when you specify one-to-one, for every record in the independent table, there is corresponding one record within the dependent table. Okay. And second thing is that in case of one-to-many, what happens is that for every record in the Outlook lookup table, there will be more than one record in the dependent table. There will be more than one record in the dependent table here, basically. Okay. So what we need to do is that we need to specify between this Outlook lookup and this particular shop facts, the type of relationship what you need to have should always be one-to-many. So this is going to be one-to-many like this. That means that each row in the Outlook lookup matches one or more rows in the shop facts, and each row in the shop facts matches one and only one row in the Outlook lookup. This is the thing that we need to specify here, basically.
Ravi?
Yeah.
Quick question. If you say what happened, detect, is it going to get automatically?
It should go to the database. Suppose right now it is unknown. It will go to the database, get the
Cardinality, okay.
Get the cardinality from that particular database and then apply it here. It is better way and then safe way of doing the things here. You know why? Because as a modeler, we want to treat exactly what is happening at the other side of the database. We cannot do our own creativity here, basically. Suppose I told you, right, there are two people who are talking in two different languages and there is an intermediate translator in between who need to communicate between the two people. Okay, if the translator starts putting up his own masala in that particular content and then start delivering it to the other people, it is senseless, right? So that's why at any point of time, whenever you are having a ambiguity or whenever you are having a doubt, how exactly the relationship have to be specified or the cardinality has to be specified, it is better to detect this particular cardinality from the database and then start applying it here, basically. This is the way we need to do the things here, basically. Start doing like this and then click on OK, and then based on that one, what is going to happen is that a relationship is going to be formed between the outlet lookup and this particular shop facts in this particular case. Outlet lookup and shop facts in this particular case, and this is what is the cardinality or the what we can say, the join that is established between these two tables like this. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So like that, what we need to do is that we need to start establishing the relationship between all these particular tables. Okay, and then make sure that no table should be left independent, no table should be left isolated. Okay, we need to do that one, and once we need to do that one, we need to check the consistency of this particular, check integrity of this particular data foundation layer. And once you find it very much consistent, then what you need to do is that we need to start converting this data foundation layer into the business layer. That business layer is supposed to contain these classes and objects, which is nothing but the form of the universe what you are going to create. Then we export this universe to the repository and then we start working from there. That is how these things are expected to work out. Okay, so having said this, this is going to be the foundation for this particular IDT, and then we continue doing this particular IDT tomorrow, and maybe in a day or two we'll try to get a close on this particular data foundation tool, and from there we can start moving basically. Okay. So Anand, Elvarajan, and who is the other one? Vijay. You're getting comfortable or you're having any concerns? We can talk offline also, not a problem. But yeah, Sham and Archana and Srini, like this is what we are going to do in this particular data foundation layer, and tomorrow we'll try to see the maximum of this particular IDT in this particular data foundation layer, and then we can keep on moving like this. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that's all from my side, sir. And,
Okay, Ravi, thank you.
Yeah, that's all from my side, sir.
Yeah,
Good talking.
thank you.
Yeah, can you attach this class to the,
Sorry, Srini?
can you send me the presentation?
Sure, I'll
Class
do
recording.
that. Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll talk in Skype only.